Yeah, and speaking of that mentality, we're actually going to be checking out Tyson mentality, and we've seen them before.
Mhm.
They are going to be our first matchup going up against GoGo Fluffy Rangers. What a name that is, but hey, it's better than one of these generated ones. At least they picked it out for themselves. I'm happy to hear about that. But what are your thoughts about Tyson mentality going into this match?
Well, they were playing extremely well last week. They had made it a considerable amount of headway throughout the tournament. And the last qualifier was that we saw, not last week, excuse me, the week before last, during the second qualifier. And I think they were definitely a team to be remembered. They were a team that were contesting a lot of the more prominent teams that we had saw within that week. I believe they had made it to semis. And it was something it is that was impressive to be able to see that a team that had come in, had really put forth that best foot, and we're showing off in a very, very prominent way. And I'm excited to see them here again this week because it's all about the adaptation and understanding in terms of them utilizing runway. They used her, I believe, maybe like once at the most, maybe twice. They weren't really like jumping at every opportunity to use her because most of the time I believe they were playing that they ended up either banning her or she was banned from her opponent. So I'm wondering to see if they have adapted her to their strategy this week, if they even feel like she's worth the ban, or how they feel about that perspective of the new character.
Oh yeah, we just got to wait and see because right now there's a lot of different compositions that are changing from last month. Teams are already realizing that the Molly
Mm.
characters are are a lot better now that they have runway where she can throw down
Yeah.
that briefcase and then you get two more. It's just really amazing. So let's go ahead and check out this match layout though, because the maps do matter, especially when you're talking about a best of three series. Gotta hope that you get maps that you're comfortable on, that you feel like you can win on, because right now it is win or go home for these teams, especially GoGo Fluffy Rangers, as they are trying to
Mhm.
qualify. And we are going to be on Canals Demolition, leading into a Windward King of the Hill, followed by a Hollows Demolition. And man, I like this. I like this right now because Canals, it's able to give you a nice slow start to the game. It's not a super fast paced map, so you're going to be able to slow things down. Make sure that your team is playing the right way. I love Canals as an opening map for these teams to be able to really test themselves right now and see where they're at today.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that Canals is a very good map to try and start things off on. I think it is a map that there is a lot. It really tests your knowledge, honestly. It is a more wider map, but even still, you have to take into consideration that there's a lot of times where, despite that wider map, you still have to be on the lookout for a lot of these different, very choke pointy s fights, right? Because you have to think about where the attackers have to come from. Either site is pretty much a very linear line of sight, right? It's pretty much a choke point where you're trying to push through whether you're going to A side or B side, and that's the story of Canals is mid control. That's what teams need to be looking at, and that's why Lancer is also so prominent on this map. Her ability to be able to roam and be able to move from point A to point B, or even try and push in through mid and not get punished for it because of quick and quiet. I think is why we would see her banned in the ban column personally. For me, is what I would imagine I see here, but if not, I'd be extremely shocked, honestly.
Yeah, a lot of the times right now, when it comes to these teams on offense, you have to ban first if you're on that offensive side. And the two
Mm.
scariest rogue to go against on Canals, in my opinion, if you're on the offense, is going to be Lancer and Ronin. If there's a Lancer that you're going up against that's on the defensive side, you have to always be watching your flanks. You almost have to have a player dedicated to that flank, because if they get communications that all four players are pushing up, guess what? That Lancer is going to be right behind you, faster than you could have thought. That
Mm.
14 seconds is no joke. And if she's able to get a right call out, a lot of these teams, they are good enough to be able to use that timing perfectly. And then Ronan, obviously, for the anti-reveal in such a meta where teams like to get that information push up, don't really like going up blindly. It's going to be really interesting to see how these teams are going to be able to adapt to this new meta, if there's going to be different
Mm.
rogues coming out, things like that. And we're going to be getting into the bans pretty soon here, and I'm excited to see that as well. And it looks like it is going to be
Mm.
Ronin and Glitch. So it looks like Tyson mentality. They went ahead and said, you know what, we're not going to deal with Ronin. That's a defensive rogue. And GoGo Fluffy Ranger said, we're
Mm.
not going to let you have Glitch when Glitch is an offensive rogue. So I like it out of both of these squads. I will say that the Lancer, like you said, is still up, so maybe we might see that. I'm not exactly sure. Probably going to be seeing Talon, as that Talon dart is going to not be able to get removed by that glitch, be easily seen, things
Yeah.
like that. Fixer is still in play. of course, as well as Runway. So not exactly sure how these teams plan on potentially using her. Maybe we'll see some Runway Dahlia Trench action where, Trench puts down 3 claymores and then he runs back and, grabs 3 more. Who knows, man? We might be seeing that. There's a lot of different options that we have for these teams today. So I'm extremely excited to see how these comps are going to be shaping out with these bands right here, because these are pretty solid bands coming out of both of these teams. Pretty smart ones.
Yeah. And Ronan makes a lot of sense as well. I mean, not being able to be revealed on the map, honestly, means that a lot of those intel characters really go to waste there. And having her out of the mix means that you have a lot more opportunity to be able to utilize that intel properly. Glitch also being banned means that Anvil doesn't really have much to worry about as well, right? I mean, to be that says that GoGo Fluffy Rangers might be looking at a potential Anvil pick. He's great on this map, whether it is attack sided or defense sided. He's great on either side, right? And I think that goes to show that Glitch is very, very prominent, not only with gaining that intel. Obviously, you pick up the phone, and obviously it reveals who's near you. But even still, it's able to counter out the shield from Anvil, and I think that's part of the main reason as to why.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, big time. And we're going to be able to see right here what they're planning on, because we're hopping into it right now, man. You guys hear the music. They're selecting these rogues, making these bands, and let's check it out right now as we are going to be loading into this beautiful map, Canals. It's got some amazing boats on it. It's got some cool buildings and a lot of corners that you can be in, especially if you are a Lancer. And we do know that rogue is open and available for both of these squads. Might even see it on offense. I'm extremely excited because right now, this is it, man. This is win or go home, as both of these teams have already guaranteed themselves 1 point, but they need more, as they are trying to at least get this second point by winning this series right here. And just like you called, there is going to be an Anvil coming out. We are going to see a double Runway, double Dallas. I like these comps right now coming out of both of these squads.
Yeah, I definitely think that this is something that is great to be able to see. We saw Runway towards the tail end of the tournaments a lot later on in the series, right? Week 2, Runway wasn't really being picked up until we got to like semifinals, finals. Most people weren't even really picking her during semis. I may have saw her even during one semis, but when it came to finals, there were times where every map she was being picked, whether it was on Respawn, whether it was on Demolition. And I think that is the single most important thing, right? Is teams finding this better utilization. And I think that's so important to be able to witness that too. And here we are, we Runway on both sides.
Oh yeah, big time. And we are going to be hopping out right now. And I'm excited, man. It's going to be interesting to see how these teams play it out. You do see that this time the Anvil is going to be on that offensive side, not on the defensive side. So they're going to be looking to get this bomb down easy and often.
Eyes up.
It seems like for right now as well, Dallas is obviously snapping his fingers, trying to see if he can reveal anything close by. No one's there, so no one's peeking. It doesn't mean they aren't holding. And that's why they're being a little bit more cautious with how they try to choose to do this. Throw it in Sin mid. They do get the tag there. They know that somebody's there, and now that they seem like they're firing on all cylinders now. They force him out, and now they're already making their way towards site.
Yes, already having site control. That's a big full kill on that. But she is going to be getting traded out immediately, and that Saint Drone's going to be coming in, getting that revive, and just like that, that is going to be 1-0 for the defense. Man, that Saint Drone was big right there.
It was too, and I feel like the Saint Drone not only was able to try and keep Runway into the mix of things, Runway wasn't even around to be able to utilize her passive. I don't even think she had the time, because I believe she got down. She was trying to make sure that nobody was trying to cut around into mid on the attacker side right there, right? So she ends up getting down due to the gunfight, and obviously has to use the Saint Drone actually to try and see if she can get picked back up. But they ended up funneling in, I believe, a little bit too quickly. They got the down, sure, and they didn't even get the down. They got the down like later. They got the information that somebody was there in mid off of the instant. They tried to push in behind that, and I think that wasn't the best choice there, because they ended up funneling in. Everyone gets picked off, and now here we are, where they end up losing that round because of, I believe, the lack of patience, in my opinion.
Yeah, and right now, this offensive team, they're going to be setting up that same Molly. It looks like he's not going to be throwing it this time. There is that runway ultimate coming out. He's going to be grabbing 2 more of those Mollies. Going to be putting one right here. It is the Molly meta right now. We've heard about it. A lot of these players have talked about it, and this Dallas is making it very obvious that they are going to Molly everything under the sun right now, as that is already 3 Mollies coming out. Another briefcase going to be dropping for the defense, as they are just trying to zone out this team. You can see that Dallas trying to move up and get an advantageous position. And right now, this runway, it seems like she is trying to make sure that nobody is going to be rotating over, but all these players are on this B side. This bomb is going to be faked, it looks like, but a Molly coming out, going to be stopping that bomb from going down. So right now, just a little bit of a stalemate, but there is only 25 seconds left, and right now is where you have to make your play, and there is... Oh, and he's not going to go down. The C4 takes him down after he goes and plants the bomb, and now it's only 2 left, and they're able to take out 2 immediately, and just like that, the defense is going to be winning another round. My goodness, even a Claymore getting a kill. Everything just went their way right there. Man, that was a rough offensive round. No, I was just going to say, they kind of waited till the last minute, you know. Yeah, I've seen so many times on this map where teams just wait till the last second, you know, to push up and plant the bomb, and then they just get util dumped and downed in that little alley, and that's what just happened there, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're entirely right. And I was going to say that I think this is the time where you start looking at pressuring another site, right? I think that they have this site on lock. I think the biggest issue there is every time it is they actually try, and they have great ways to, I mean, let's look at what it is that you were saying beforehand, right? It is the aspect of you saying that, like, this is a very, very prominent Molly meta. I entirely agree with that, because what happens? You have runway to be able to refuel back up on those C4s. They toss out a C4 immediately. What ends up happening? Amble gets down. They end up getting all these kills too. But this is different. I'm not sure why they're taking this sort of perspective. They played up a little bit too far, and they get down because they're swinging into like 2 different people. Like, each angle is they're looking at, because they're just coming in. I'm not sure if that was something I agree with on the side of Tyson mentality. Yeah, no, why? I have no answer for that.
Yeah, Tyson mentality just pushed up a little bit too far right there. Not exactly sure. Not exactly sure what they were thinking right there. It looks like they tried to catch them off guard. They said, look, we know you're going to come to B, so we're going to meet you there, and we're going to take you out. But it looks like that plan did not work out. As you saw the Dallas, he threw that Molly behind that doorway to make sure he could not leave, and they were able to trap that player. The Saint was trying to help out up close, and both of them ended up getting taken out, and that is just something that you cannot have happen if you're on defense. You know, you cannot just throw rounds away like that, especially if there's going to be such important players on your team. You cannot have your revive character playing up like that unless you know for a fact it's going to work.
Here they go again. They're playing up, but I'm not sure if they're trying to play a little bit more. I'm not sure why they're doing this. Gotcha. This is like the second time in a row they're going for the more aggressive play. They've every time it is the attackers have actually moved in, they've mostly been getting deterred from getting in on site because of them having that runway. They can play a little bit more back. I'm not sure why they feel the need to play forward now. They're getting picked off because of this.
Yeah, but that was a nice shield placement, making sure that if a Molly did come in, it wasn't going to be able to get him off of that shield. And they were able to get that bomb down. One player goes down. The KA-30 on the Dallas. That is a lethal combination. Not able to land the 2-tap, though. The Dahlia cooking the nade is able to finish it off with the bank shot. Call it Kobe, man. That was absolutely beautiful. And, man, that is a 2-2 ball game now. That was the first time where pushing B actually worked out for the offense when they had to play a straight-up 4v4. You know, the round before, they had it a little bit given to them, but right here, you can see just an amazing bank shot right off of that wall. Woof.
Yeah, that is... wow, man. I mean, I'm not sure why it's continuously happening, but I absolutely have to say that they gotta just play it by ear, I would say, you know? Like, they've been doing so good on those first 2 rounds. Here they are peaking and being a little bit more aggressive. I don't think that's working out for them because look at the angle it is that they have to peak, they have to hold. Okay, this time they're not pushing up. This time they're playing back passively, the same thing as that they were doing before. They're waiting, they're playing patiently, they're having someone in mid watching by warehouse. But here we are once again. Everyone pushes over on this right side here. And this is the opportunity for them to try and see if they can stop them from getting in onto site. This is how they were playing beforehand, the first 2 rounds. I like how they played this a lot more because it makes it a lot easier for them to actually play passively. But having that aggression, not sure if I agree with that too much.
Yeah, and that runway is going to be going down, but I'm pretty sure the Saint Drone's going to be getting him up. Now, is that Anvil going to be getting up by the Dahlia? Yes, he is. Both rebounds going off. Anvil goes down again. Sniper shot, not going to be able to line it up. Best of that one. He's going to be coming down as he is lit, and he's going to be taking out that final player. And just like that, Liddy is looking like a pretty good runway as they're going to be going up 3-2 on this defensive side.
Mission failed. We disarmed the bomb.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I mean, like, that's exactly what I've been saying, right? It is the aspect of waiting, playing patiently, because you see that most of them funnel in on that right side, right? They're too worried about going through mid. Why? Mostly because of the fact that not only do they have one person waiting right there, they're not going to try and go the other way. They're all just going to try and play on the right side because you have 2 angles it is you have to worry about. When you're swinging out like that, half of the time you're going to end up getting crossfire. That's why they have one person playing by warehouse and one person playing on site to make sure that nobody ever comes through that way. That's why they group up on the right. That makes it a lot harder 100%. For them to try and do this.
Oh, yeah. And I really want to go on with the Talon right now. I want to see where this Talon is putting his Talon dart, because that is a indication as to how they're going to be playing it. It looks like Talon is by himself at this A side.
Eyes up.
It seems like...
Right now,
Quanatic
is going to be pushing through the middle, but I believe he did snap that player over on the A side, so he is waiting, trying to line up these headshots. He's going to be hitting that stim, even though he didn't even get hit. Sometimes just do it out of reaction. He's going to be hitting that molly. He has this player low. He needs to get aggressive right now, and Quanatic, he's losing it.
Oh, man.
He does get taken out. Oh, man. King XP takes him out, and just like that, trades are coming in. See the Simtex coming out, and right now this runway is running for her life as it's a 3v2 situation, advantageous for the defense. And right now they are hunting them down. They're not trying to let them up. As there goes Dahlia, she's down, and there's runway as well getting taken out. And man, that is now 4-2 in favor of GoGo Fluffy Rangers.
And that's what's interesting as well, is the aspect of seeing them play more aggressive when they manage to get a man down, right? It's about playing that numbers advantage. And I don't think that they should try and play an advantage that they don't have when they push up so early and so aggressively as well. That's like one of the biggest things, is the fact that they full sent after they got that down, right? And that's what's important here. Them recognizing that numbers advantage and them playing aggressive after the fact. Don't do it before, because if you do, then obviously you're peeking into way too many people. The Fluffy Rangers already have it down pat, right? I mean, they already got Zordon on their side. You got to be a little bit more careful. I mean, you are playing against the Rangers, but you got to be worried. A little bit more cautious.
Oh, yeah, those Rangers can be deadly. As we see Quanatic on this Dallas, he's going to be pushing up again, and he's going to want revenge for that last round. As I'm sure he probably feels like that last round was a little bit on him. No, he wasn't able to line that up. That nade is an interesting one out of Pete Crew. The box is going to be coming out. That tenacity barely going to be saving the Anvil's life, but Donnie G on the Talon, he is going to get taken out by that incendiary grenade. They've thrown it multiple times, but that time it was able to catch him out, keep him weak enough as he went down to get that full kill. You guys can see that shield is already out, and they are trying to make sure that that bomb does not go down anymore. Right now they got a 4-3 advantage. And a big situation, man, that was a beautiful shot. And now a 4v2 situation, now a 4v3 as that player did get back up. Bomb's going down, 20 seconds left. He's able to get it down, and now it's going to be all about the retake and how well you're able to do it. Because right now, Quanatic on this Dallas is going to be holding that cut. C4 is going to be coming out, and he said, forget the C4, I'm going to use my gun. And that is going to end up working out as they're going to be bringing this thing one round closer. And that's going to be a 3-4 halftime score as right there, Tyson Mentality was able to bring that one essentially even at halftime.
Now here we are. We've swapped positions. Now the Fluffy Rangers will be the ones on the attacker side here. I'm interested to see how Tyson mentality, what they decide to draft. Instead of the Saint, we're seeing the Dahlia here in terms of draft and perspective on the side of Tyson mentality. So we've got Dahlia, Runway, Anvil, and Dallas instead of running the, well, it seems like they're trying to bounce back and forth between things, right? Here you have it right now with the Vi instead of the Anvil, and you have great defensive pressure, but we see Lancer on the other side. This is exactly what it is that I was more concerned about, was the aspect of seeing Lancer on this map. This map is wide. You have to be worried and always on the lookout for where she could possibly be coming from. I would definitely be concerned about that, man. I think Lancer's a great pick here.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, I 100% agree with you. You know, looking at the team comp that they're going up against, you know, they're not going up against a Talon Dart. They're not going up against anything aside from that Dallas snap, and that's really all she has to worry about. And once that Dallas snap does go through, that Lancer is going to have free reign. She doesn't have Claymores that she has to watch out for, aside from Runway, which I don't believe that Runway is going to prioritize the Claymores off the rip. But if that Runway does, you know, says, hey, look, we're going up against the Lancer. I don't want this Lancer hitting some crazy flank through mid or through the cut or all the way through A boat. They might try to strategize where they're going to put those Claymores, but it's honestly such a shot in the dark to put just one Claymore over at A side and think that you're going to be able to lock it down against a Lancer, because a good Lancer is going to be checking every single corner for those Claymores as they're clearing out this side slowly but surely.
Here they are trying to be on the oppressor here, but they already get down by one. And they managed to get the other one too. I mean, they are keeping hold of this site right here. Good awareness and good rotations, obviously on the side of Tyson mentality, just to try and see if they can push back on the side of defense. They're getting lots of downs, and they aren't quite able to hold as good as they were once on the side of the Fluffy Rangers. They have to be more careful, more cautious now. And that's exactly what they're doing. They're playing back, seeing if anybody overextends. That's what Talon's doing, I at least believe. They're waiting to see if anybody pushes in or pushes forward, see if they can get those picks. But they already have a great angle on one of them. One of them tried to make it out, and he can't even escape.
Yeah, he was trying to sneak through the middle, trying to make a play, crouch walking, but that Dahlia was on the trash can, and she was able to see him, called him out, and they were able to get that nice pinch. And now it's Talon Liddy all by himself as he is going to try impossible happen. 13 seconds left, and I'm pretty sure it's not going to happen at this point. He's just going to be playing his life, playing for money, and we got ourselves a 4-4 game. I knew that this was going to be a good one, but I did think that the demolition might be a little bit more in favor of Tyson mentality, but maybe now they're on the defensive side, they'll be able to stack these round wins up as they're able to get that first pistol round win, and that one is very important.
You see them being able to actually get the pick on a lot of different members on the side of the Fluffy Rangers. They try and push in, obviously they get knocked back down. And now here you are, tied 4-4. And the defensive side has had your number for the very first round. I mean, the pistol round, winning that, obviously very important. Doesn't want to give any more credits to them, which is why he was waiting right there, just letting the time run out, honestly, see if he can get a pick, get a little bit of extra cash in the pocket. But even still, you now have on the side of Tyson mentality, them playing a little bit more defensive, a little bit more frequently as well. They have a great team to be able to stall on their push, not going for the Anvil at all here, just opting to go for anything that could stop roamers. Like I think Vi's great at doing that. Dallas, having those characters that sort of stop that aggression is what their team calls for. Instead of having that Anvil being a little bit more passive and playing a little bit more back, you have the counter the aggression with the aggression.
Oh, yeah, and having 5 mollies on this defensive side every round, it can be... Well, let's see. They can actually have 6, now that I think about it. They can have 6. So both of the molly characters can use their mollies and then pick up 2 more each. So, yeah, they can have 6 mollies on defense per round. So if this team on offense, if they take their time, they're going to be facing a lot of fire at the end of these rounds, simply because of the composition that they're going up against.
Here they are, setting things up as well. They slowly managed to inch their way forward, but nobody's really able to break through. Here they're already pushing out in mid as well, and Lancer already has to make her way all the way over to A site just to try and see if she can escape. But they get 2 downs, or at least, 1 kill off of that. They get a down, and then they finish it off. Now we're looking at a 4v3. This is not looking so great for the Fluffy Rangers right now.
Yeah, 100%. Right now, Tyson Mentality is shutting it down. They were able to down the Dahlia as well. There's no C4 for this talent, so he's going to have to fight his way out of this situation. His teammate already goes down. He is able to take out one, but he's going to get met with a molly because that is 1 out of 6 mollies that they do have available. That A side is so hard to get a bomb down going up against so many mollies. Essentially, wherever they try to plant it, they can just molly it off, make them run away from it, and kill them while they run away. So right now, it's looking very good for Tyson Mentality in this composition that they've chosen with this Vi, with this Dallas, with this runway. That composition, we've heard about it. We've heard about the Molly compositions that teams have been throwing and running. And right now, all of them are coming to fruition right here. This team is stacking up these wins on defense, trying to make it a clean sweep. They might actually go cleanly on defense and sweep them on this side.
Yeah, it seems like right now Tyson are having an easier time and holding this. They've broken the tie. Now here we are at 5-4. They're trying to shake things up a little bit, seeming to go B. And I do like the adaptation from that as well, but they've been stacking more so B. They've just had great rotations on the side of A. And they're actually getting early shots as well, lowering them so quickly. A lot more effectively as well than we saw Fluffy Rangers do when the shoe was on the other foot, right? When they were the ones that were defending. We saw them struggle to try and play a little bit more forward, a little bit more aggressive, and they even get one down off of that too. My goodness, a great flank from mid, and they clean shop here.
Yeah, just an amazing flank all around. And right there, Quanatic was able to make it happen. And that's the thing, when you have two padded step characters in that Dallas and that runway, you're able to make plays just like that. And if that is not going to be in the middle, if that Lancer is not going to be trying to make a play through the middle, that's going to be an easy flank for Quanatic. I'm not sure if he just went all the way through a boat, just snapped, made sure nobody was there, and then just came behind them all up the ramp. But either way, it was an amazing play from Quanatic all around. And right now, they're shutting them out on this defensive side as they're up 3-0 on this defensive side, currently up 6-4, needing 2 more rounds on defense when they've already made defense look oh so easy.
Seems like right now, they are at least trying to, once again, split up their numbers here, checking to see if anybody's by A. And they don't find anyone there, so now they can make their way over to mid and obviously watch B-side a little more closely. Another early pick on them trying to push in. They are doing so well with playing this aggressively. Runway tosses down her ability, and now they've got even more nades to chuck at him. And he gets 2 downs off of that too.
Yeah, just trying to do a little bit too much right there, reviving his teammate in the open. They didn't really clear things out, didn't smoke out both sides. They didn't really make sure it was all that safe, so when that Lancer was trying to go for that revive, she ended up getting taken out herself. And that Dahlia got to win those trades, especially if all you got is a DMR. It's a lot of yellow guns in the feed, as more and more yellow on this defensive squad in Tyson Mentality, and they're becoming a force right now on this defensive side. It's looking like a little bit of a stomp just because they have not lost a round yet on defense, and everyone knows this is a defensive-sided map, and right now the Lancer is just not able to be effective, just not making the plays that they really need. Not sure if it's because she's scared of running into a Claymore on the other side, or if it's because she's scared of running into a Dallas flanking, but either way, this Lancer is going to have to be more useful for this squad if they want to win this one.
I mean, topping the leaderboard charts at least, I mean, having the most downs, having the most elims is obviously a good sign here, but I agree. I definitely don't see the usefulness of the Lancer, particularly at this current point in time. She's mostly pushing with the team. She's not trying to open things up. And they're having a harder time getting on the site too, which is typically what these roamers want to be able to do. They want to be able to open up site, make things a little bit easier, obviously, for the team to make it there and see if they can get any wandering picks on the way, right? But that hasn't been much of the case. They're playing a little bit more passively now too. They've been forced back a lot more frequently. Vi throws out the poison and they're locked off, at least for a little bit.
I'll find you.
Yeah, and all they have to do right now is just keep them at bay really until the 45-second mark, because once that happens, they have 6 mollies on their side, so they are going to be able to get them off of that bomb repeatedly as much as they want. And so they're really in a race against themselves at this point on this offensive side, and we're going to need to see a hard push out of them if they want any chance of winning this one, and they might need to push out this player in the cut and win this fight. This is a big gunfight for Roco. He's got him to 1 HP. Gonna need to win
Oh
another one,
no,
but no.
man.
Beautiful trades coming out from Quinatic onto Loco. And now it's a 3v3 situation. That Vi going to be able to get one trade, and the full kill is going to come through. You already see the Dallas and this Dahlia are going to be running for their lives. Currently in a 2v2 situation now, 15 seconds left. The bomb is at the backside, so they're going to need to go get that bad boy, and they're going to need to fight their way through it. And this Runway is not going to be letting that happen easily. And right there,
wow,
Runway going to be taking him out. And there they go, trying to grab that bomb. It is not going to work out, and that is going to be an 8-4 victory. A clean sweep from the defensive side of Tyson Mentality. And man, that was an impressive showing right there out of them.
Just also the most unfortunate part about it too was the fact that Talon had the bomb that entire time. He's swinging out with Lancer to try and see if they can get those picks. Doesn't even manage to get the pick. They bring him super low to like a pixel, but Lancer doesn't know that there's somebody else there. Swings out, obviously gets the down there. Talon pushes all the way into the back of their spawn. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure where the bomb was trying to be planted in a situation like that. You could have planted it more towards your side. I feel like there was a lot of time that ended up being stalled on the side of the attackers there. If the bomb would have been planted sooner, I think it would have been way easier.
Oh yeah, big time. And as you guys can see in these replays, man, it came down to those precision gunfights, man. And this teamwork out of this squad in Tyson Mentality, like you said, you got to have the right mentality coming into today. And it looks like they right now definitely have that. You know, they were down 4-3 at halftime. And anytime you're down at halftime, you really got to gather yourself together, say, you know what, look, guys, we got this, especially if you're going to the favored side. And that's exactly what they did. And they shut this team out, made it look easy, as you guys can see right here in these amazing highlights. That was such a close gunfight right there. Man, that one decided it all in that round. And man, this squad is looking like the real deal. They're looking like a legitimate threat to knock some of these teams out of that top 6 spot. And I'm excited to see how they're going to do the rest of this qualifier number 3, because this is it. This is the last chance to get these points. All these teams want as many points as possible. That way they can have the best seed possible. That way they can go up against the worst as possible as they can. As you know, teams would love going up against one of those bottom seeded teams. And man, that was an amazingly clutch match from Tyson Mentality, able to reverse sweep them on that defensive side. Just didn't drop a round on that defensive side. Now they're going into a Windward King of the Hill. And this is going to be a very fast-paced map. This is one of those maps where the second that you spawn, you are full sprinting somewhere. Doesn't matter if you are going to be full sprinting toward the next hill, and it doesn't matter if you're full sprinting toward the previous hill, or if you're going to the middle of the map to get mid-control. Either way, you are going to be flying around the map at all times, really, unless you are sitting in the hill. That's really the only time that you're not going to be moving on this map. Is this one is definitely one of my favorite King of the Hill maps. So how are you feeling about this one right now with these two squads?
A lot of the sites that you have to overtake on this map for King of the Hill are very, very open. So I'm interested to see what kind of drafts it is that they'll have this time around, because of how there's not a lot of spots that you can sort of play at. Almost every King of the Hill site it is I'm thinking of that is on this map allows you to potentially get crossfired if there's it, because you can have so many openings you can get attacked from. So I could definitely see Anvil being a pick here on either side, because I feel like it's so important to be able to at least lock down or at least eliminate lines of sight that your opponent may have when you are able to sit on the King of the Hill, right? When you are able to sit on that point capture. And I think that even though this map is great, because I also love this map too, Rome, I genuinely enjoy seeing King of the Hill on this map. I feel like it's a lot harder to hold as opposed to a lot of the other maps, because there's not a lot of cover for a lot of those sites that is you have to be worried about.
Oh yeah, that D hill with that well, or that fountain in the middle, if you will, is very open, and you really have to watch all 4 directions at all times, like you said. And the thing is that C hill is the main money hill on Windward, and like you said, if you have that anvil shield, you're able to block off the staircase. There's only a couple ways that you can get in. You're either going to climb over, or you're going to be running straight down the middle of the map. And you know, Anvil's definitely been a power pick on Windward King of the Hill for a lot of different times, but it really comes down to what these teams are going to be banning out, because if there's going to be a lot of mollies on the map, I'm not sure that Anvil is going to be the best choice, as one molly can get rid of that entire area, just zone it completely off. So, we'll see what the bans are going to be. I'm excited. Looks like they did come out, and they are going to be Vi and Mac. Now, this is interesting. Now, we never see Mac banned unless it's against Muscle Freak. That is the only time that we ever see Mac banned. He is the Mac, if you will. Everyone can say when it comes to competitive Rogue Company, he is the best, mainly because he's the only one that plays it. And usually when you're the only one that plays that rogue, you're going to be extremely good with it. And people know that when he's mowing people down with that LMG and he starts getting that bad boy going, it's not something that you want to challenge, because after about 2 seconds, that's the best gun in the game. So it's gonna be very exciting to see what rogue Muscle Freak is gonna be on, since he's not able to be on that Mac. But Vi is gonna be banned. Now, what the players have been telling me, because I've been out of it a little bit out of the loop in the past couple weeks. I've been traveling around, been driving across the country, things like that. So haven't exactly been able to keep up with the exact compositions of teams like running, but people have said when King of the Hill that they love the Molly meta, and no matter what, there's a way to let the Molly meta through. And it looks like that's going to be the case, because right now Scorch and Runaway are both still available. So I'm guessing that one of these teams is going to be locking in that combination. And we all know Scorch, she can sit on that hill inside of those mollies all day. And right now we're going to be loading in to see what they're going to be choosing, because I'm excited to see what maps or what rogues these two teams are going to be picking, especially Muscle Freak.
Yeah, and you have a lot of rogues that get picked on this map that are great at dueling as well, because of how active this map is. I mean, I mentioned it before. You have a lot of different angles and sites. Every site it is that I can physically think of involves you fighting or potentially having two ways you could get looked at, right? And I think that's so scary, depending on whoever is capping the point. So you have to make sure that you lock out on any character that might be good at, making sure that works. And I actually like the Fixer hover here, partly because I think Fixer being here and having the aspect of weapon mastery being introduced as well means that you have the opportunity to use whatever it is that you want to utilize. And having that smoke means that it might make it a little bit easier for you to try and retake. But the Fixer is, for better or for worse, moved away from looking at the Kestrel, looking at the Chalk. And I like the choices so far on the side of the GoGo Fluffy Rangers. They are looking good right now, because, like I said, you want to make sure that you have a lot of duelists. You want to make sure that you're good at taking these one-on-one fights. They run the Dahlia on the other side, on the side of Tyson mentality, as opposed to, like another aggressive character, no Kestrel. Almost the same draft, honestly. But the difference is the Dahlia here, and I think that might be a pretty big difference, because of the fact that having characters that fight so frequently and having that on-hand res is going to be just as important, right?
I don't even think it's the revive. Even if this Dahlia finishes this game with 0 revives, I think the main reason that the Dahlia comes into play here is because of the Molly meta. And the safest way to defend against the Molly meta is to not be able to die to a Molly, and that's exactly what Scorch's passive allows her to do. So she's going to be linking up to that Scorch every single second of every round, and they're going to be rolling out of this plane, looking to stand fire, and they have a triple Molly comp going up against a double Molly comp, so they are just going to be able to throw these incendiary grenades out left, out right, and man, I don't think the players lied to me, Fawn. I'm going to be honest. This is looking like an instant meta.
Yeah, it definitely is looking to be that way, Rome. As they already head off to their first point here at A. The kills come through on the side of Tyson mentality, though. Already, point control and plenty of kills and credits in the back pocket. They are doing wonderfully right now to start off this King of the Hill.
Oh yeah, and anytime you're able to get a solid wipe like that, it's almost as if you almost got to start going toward the next hill. As you see Liddy, he was the first one to die. He's going to be coming right back, but he's got nowhere to go. And just like that, they are going to be going to that next hill and start fighting for it already. And if you're an early boy on this Lancer, you got to start thinking, okay, if they're not even going to contest this, it's time for me to get going. So I'm pretty sure he's going to be leaving. Yep, he's going to be leaving that Scorch all by her lonesome for the last 15 seconds. And just like that, they're going to have a 55-point lead. They're a third of the way done, and we're just now ending the first hill. And man, this is looking rough for the Rangers. They're looking amazing for the side of Tyson mentality, as Muscle Freak on the Dahlia is going to be able to do work. And he's got the Mamba. We talked about this before. Wow. The Mamba is such a good gun, and if you have Dahlia eventually going to be having that fast res and immunity to fire, oh man, that Dahlia is going to be coming online. And when she does, it is oh man, the 2 taps out of Muscle Freak are hitting different, just like that, able to take out 2 players. If you're hitting headshots, that Mamba is just absolutely lethal. So different seeing Dahlia with a gun that can do damage like this compared to the MXR. And you guys can see 4 bursts, that's all it took. 1-2, 1-2, full killed, 1-2, 1-2, and he's gone as well. And just like that, they are going to be having a 50-point lead right now, going to absolute war on this hill. And you can see the fire immunity is coming out in big fashion for both of these squads. And man, that's a big gunfight, surviving with just 16 HP. And they are going to be able to hold this hill for a whole lot of the time left, as there's only 20 seconds left before that power hill.
It seems like for right now, the Tyson mentality have been doing great with locking on, holding on to a lot of these sites. Loses the door right there. They're able to at least overtake it, but only for a few more seconds. I believe Tyson mentality already moving on to the next objective here, as it is becoming more and more difficult for them to hold on. They are winning so many of these fights as well. It is so hard to be able to fight back against what drive they have right now, man. I think it's so hard for them to do that, and we're seeing that. We saw the Mamba be used on the introduction, of Weapon Mastery 2 weeks ago. And now here we are, a lot of people are still picking the Mamba because of its versatility, man. And Mamba, KA-30, like, we saw a lot of that 2 weeks ago. And now here we are once again, the Mamba, back in the hands of very capable players, is tearing people up.
Oh yeah, big time. And you guys can see in the kill feed, a lot of these weapons are gold. And anytime you see a gold weapon, that means that they've got that bad boy mastered. That means that anyone with an SMG, if you got that SMG mastered, you can go ahead and load that bad boy in and use that weapon. And you guys can see that this Lancer, he's not going to be having the 24S. You know, he's going to be having the SMG we normally see used by Chalk. But whatever sub you are comfortable with, you're able to use it now. And that's something that I absolutely love about this game that updated, simply because the comfortability of every single player automatically goes up simply by being able to choose the gun that you are most comfortable with. And this one is looking like a slaughter right now.
It seems like it's becoming harder the more time passes, the harder it is for the Fluffy Rangers to make their comeback, because that lead is becoming astronomical. I don't even think they'll be able to touch again. They only need 2 more points on the side of Tyson mentality, and they got it. That's 1 round already done, and they only need 1 more to be able to take the set.
Yeah, they're looking extremely solid as a squad right now. 1 more round, and then they are going to be moving on to the semifinals. And that's exactly what you want if you are this squad in Tyson mentality. You just got to keep on getting these points. They've already secured 1, and if they win 1 more round, they're going to be securing their 2nd point for that $10,000 main event next weekend. And you guys can see right now, Quanatic on the Dallas. He is going absolutely off with 13 downs to his name, and he is on that Star-Spangled Dallas. Not sure if that's the name of it, but that's what I'm going to call it. He's got the big old star on his back. He's going to be hopping out, probably going to be chucking this molly after snapping his fingers, and we'll see how this bad boy goes.
Let's see how it started out here. Wow, man. Once again, Tyson mentality finding plenty of kills. They're the ones in control of site once more. Every time they've been able to push in, they're doing great. I was mentioning it before about how there's so many different angles that you could be attacked from, but Tyson mentality are doing so good at making sure that they lock down those angles that it is a lot harder for them to even make it onto site on the side of the Fluffy Rangers. And Dallas being pushed up this far by their all the way in the back is crazy, because they weren't even expecting him to be there. You see that they get taken out because of that. It sets up very well for the next point.
Oh yeah, and right now the Rangers, they already have spawn control for this B hill, and now the question is, how are they going to be able to capitalize off of it? You can see Liddy, he's not wanting to challenge that gunfight just as of yet. My goodness, nasty headshots. Wow, they are going to be taking out 3 of those players, and if you're able to take out 3, you can definitely find the 4th and 2 as well. And there they go. They have the spawns. They're going to be converging on this final player. Oh, he's able to take out 1, but there they go, just like that. They're going to have control of the site and control of the spawns, and they still have 50 seconds left on this hill. And That time you have to fight for, because you can't go to the sea hill down 100, especially if this team's shown that they can break hills extremely easily as they have done. So we'll see how this squad is going to be choosing to go against this, and it looks like they're giving it up. Looks like they aren't going to be fighting it, just trying to get more control up top, but I don't think that's going to be working out for them at all.
Yeah, that is it's not looking too well still for the Fluffy Rangers right now. Lancer tops the quick and quiet and still finds another kill. They are doing, and I actually love how they're setting up and making sure that they have hold of the site. Once again, like just an earlier callback, I was saying about how hard it is to sort of hold down these sites because of the amount of angles it is you have to come from. So with that being the case, what are they doing? They're eliminating the amount of places it is that they have the opportunity to look. They're sending people far off and away from the site. They're leaving people to cap on point, and they're sending people away from the site to make sure that they can catch anybody that might be coming around on the flank or might be coming around from the main line of sight, you know? And they're just leaving the people on site to play the defensive game while they have two people play the attacker side, right? And they keep these people away from the site, making it harder for them to funnel back in or even play retake because they're getting picked off as soon as either they spawn or they round a certain corner.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's a 50-point lead right now on this sea hill, which is the money hill. And right now, Rangers, they do have control of it, so they are able to start this comeback slowly but surely, but they're going to need to hold the rest of it. This is a big gunfight right here. They're able to take him out, so they're going to get re-control of that sea site for this last 25 seconds, and they're going to be feeling good about it because they're going to be able to pop this 100 mark heading into the fourth and final hill. And anytime you're over 100 and the other team hasn't even popped 50, you're going to be feeling very, very comfortable to close this bad boy out in 2-0 fashion.
Yeah, right now it's becoming a lot harder for Fluffy Rangers to try and come back. It's the same thing that we saw last round. The longer the game went on, the harder it was for them to try and overtake. But them having control of sight right now is looking like a great opportunity. But this is the power of Lancer, man. You give her give her an inch, she'll take a mile. She pops that quick and quiet and finds 2 downs on her own. And now they've been able to take over sight. It's going to be hard for them to try and play this retake once again because of what they have to be concerned about. And here's what I'm talking about. They send out multiple people to try and pressure the sides, pressure the flanks, to make sure it's harder for them to try and funnel in to play retake. And this is exactly what they've been good at doing so far. They send these people out and they get so many of these downs, but misses and loses the gunfight. They'll be able to retake, I think, a lot easier. But is he holding sight by himself? Scorch doing so well and making sure that they're keeping a lock on these angles, man. That was crazy. And they win the game. They win the set. They move on.
Yeah, P-Crew on that Scorch, he was locking it down for, even though his teammate went down, he said, you know what, I got you, buddy. They're going to run right through this hallway, and I'm going to be taking down them both with my Scorch ult. And a Scorch ult is a gunfight that it's very hard to win against, and both of them ended up going down to it. And just like that, Tyson mentality, they're going to be getting 2 more points, and they're going to be continuing on in this bracket. And I'm excited to see where they're going to end up at the end of the day, because this team, they have a whole lot of promise, and they've been showing it every single map.
I agree, yeah. Tyson mentality, one of the reasons why I wanted to keep an eye on them just for this week, right? It is the amount of work that they put in. It is the amount of the clear knowledge and game sense they have as well. I would be very, very concerned if I were them, honestly. I mean, they're looking good. I'll be concerned about whoever tries to go against them, because they have been looking great these past 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, after they were down 4-2, they were able to really turn things up in this Canals demo, as you guys can see from these series highlights that we have. And there was a big flank from Quanatic with the KA-30, man. Anytime you're able to get a flank, get those players revealed and take out 2 of them, you're going to be in a prime position to win the round. And there were so many close gunfights that it all came down to that final one with the Dahlia going up against that runway, and the runway got the best of her. Right here, Muscle Freak doing what he does best, and that is hitting accurate shots. He is a lethal man with these sticks. And Quanatic, he is doing his best on this Dallas. Every single map, he did well on Dallas. In the Demolition, he had a ton of kills. And right here, it was just no different. You know, he's feeling extremely comfortable today on this Dallas. We've seen Muscle Freak play this Dallas before. I thought Muscle Freak might be on it, but he said, you know what, Chronatic, you're feeling comfortable, you're feeling good, go ahead and do your thing on it. And right here, Early Boy was able to make a lot of things happen with this Lancer. This is a big peak right here because that Scorch had her ult popped, and being able to win that one is extremely massive. And then finally, the Scorch, my goodness, just being able to take out all those players trying to push into the site, picking up all that cash before this thing ends 180 to not nearly as much as 150. Not exactly sure what the final number was that they ended up having, but that is going to be a quick 2-0 series for the side of Tyson Mentality over GoGo Fluffy Rangers.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously, like we were talking about it before, there's a lot of pressure, a lot of thought process that has to go into a lot of these matches, right? And I think that Fluffy Rangers, they come back potentially the next qualifier, right? They have plenty of opportunity to be able to keep the pressure on. I think that they did they tried their best and they did an amazing job today, but they just weren't quite able to find their stride and Tyson Mentality take their lack of momentum and utilize it for themselves, right? I mean, an 8-4, a 2-0, those aren't easy to be able to get, but Tyson Mentality, they made it look easy for the set.
Yeah, especially not dropping a defense on that Canals demo. I'm sure they're going to be feeling very good about that map from here on out as they were making those 6 mollies, they were making them useful and they were not messing around with them at all. We saw even on offense, they were trying to do their thing with the molly and they were throwing even 3 out in the first round off the rip, just trying to clear out all these areas. And it was able to pay off for them on that defensive side. You love to see it from this squad in Tyson Mentality. So sorry for GoGo Fluffy Rangers. Hopefully they were able to get enough points to qualify, but if not, you know, there's always going to be next month. We'll say that, man. You can always try again next month, man.